Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and the Pixel 2 XL has been one of my favorite design phones for the past year. Now, many of you know me for doing iPhone videos, but I also use this phone on a daily basis. Now, this is a great phone as far as its design. I think the design is probably one of the best things about it, and may even be a little bit better than the Pixel 3's design due to the lack of notch. But let's turn this off and take a look at the hardware and how it's held up over the past year, because I haven't used a case on this most of the time, just to see how it would wear. I like to use phones without cases, even though, of course, it doesn't protect it as well, but this one has held up pretty well considering the abuse it's had. So if you take a look at it here, it's the Panda Pixel, of course, and it does have some wear over here. So if you take a look right here, there are some wear marks. I don't know if you can see that, but right here it's real faint, but not as bad as some other phones I've used. In fact, I've had iPhones wear much worse than this over time down at the bottom. Now at the top, you'll see there is some wear around the camera itself, and that's just from it being set down on a table over and over like this, just picked back up and then put in my pocket. That's normally where it is. So you'll see there is some wear there, and then across the glass there are some scratches, and it smudges really easy, but I think it looks pretty good overall. Now if we look along the sides here, it's pretty good, and then on the bottom, this is where I've dropped it, and you can see this pretty evidently here. It's been dropped, unfortunately, but it held up pretty well. It did chip this plastic coating over the aluminum though, so that's something to note and is kind of unfortunate, but overall it's held up really well. Now if we turn it on here, you'll see the display, of course, is not known for being one of the best. It does have a blue shift off axis, and to me, after using it regularly, it wasn't that big of a deal. Honestly, you get used to it, but the screen is not as clear or vibrant as something such as a Note 9 or a XS Max, one of those phones. There are better displays out there, but the Pixel 3 XL looks really good. So durability-wise, it's been pretty good. You won't really see many scratches on this display. It's held up well. In fact, it's held up maybe a little bit better than my iPhones have with regular use as well. As far as screen burn-in is concerned, I haven't been able to find any. If I look all over this display down here at the bottom, I just don't see any at all, even though I know a lot of people are having this issue. Even the clock, nothing is there, the home button. So whatever they did to fix this early on seems to have fixed it for me as well. So that's a good thing, and I think most people would be happy with that, assuming they have the same issue. I'd be curious to know if you have that, though, in the comments below. Now, as you can see, the battery's at 67%. I haven't used it very much for the past couple of days. I've been looking at the Pixel 3 XL, but you'll see 2 days and 22 hours with only 13 minutes of actual usage, and at 67%. So the standby is good. It easily lasts through a day, no problem. I use this for a lot of different phone calls and things, and I find the battery still holds up really well. Now, as far as speed of the operating system, everything's super smooth. I actually never had slowdowns, even with Android P. Everything's moving nice and fast all of the time. Apps are still loading quick. I just haven't really had any issues with it where people were having that. Maybe if I was to pick one thing, occasionally the camera will be a little bit slow to open, but that's pretty much it. And for the most part, it's pretty fast. I don't really have any issues there. I'm really happy with that. Oh, I guess there is one issue to mention, and that's mostly if I squeeze this, sometimes it doesn't go into the Google Assistant mode, or it will go into it and not recognize my voice. But I do like the squeeze feature. I use it all the time, usually to turn on my studio lights, for example. So I'll just do this real quick. Turn my lights off. And now my lights are off. I can do the same thing, and that one's not working. It's not even working properly. Let me turn it back on, and you'll see everything's back on. So it's working okay, and whatever, that one LifeX tile thing wasn't working properly. But overall, everything works well. Now, my favorite thing about this, and something I've used this for the most, is the camera. I use this as a Google Guide. I also use this as taking pictures of when I'm outside filming different videos. If I need a thumbnail shot, it's coming from this camera. I always use this camera for that reason in particular. So if I need to take a quick thumbnail of, say, an older iPhone, anything like that, it's really nice. Open the camera, take a shot, and it looks better than just about any iPhone out there, maybe with the exception of the newest ones. Otherwise, this and the Pixel 3 XL are my go-to cameras when it comes to that. So I'm really pleased with this after a year. I think it's held up well, but there is one issue I have with it, and that has to do with this speaker. The top one in particular is a little rattly when you're making a phone call or you have it at high volumes. Overall, when you're playing music or anything like that, it gets a little bit distorted. Let me see if I can show you. So here's my BlackBerry review. Let me turn it up. Look at the side. We have a convenience button here on the bottom. We also have a power sleep wake button and then a volume rocker. And it rattles out of the bottom speaker right here and sometimes over here. It's just not as great as it could be. So it's something that I would like to see them maybe improve, and hopefully it is with the Pixel 3 XL. Of course, I could have warranted this, I suppose, but overall, I think it's held up really well. But if you have a Pixel 2 or a Pixel 2 XL, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. I really like this phone. I think it was very underrated at the time for its display. I find the display nice and color accurate. However, if you compare it next to, say, a newer Pixel 3 or Pixel 3 XL or one of the new iPhones or the Note 9, I think you'd be disappointed with it. But for everyday use, it's great, and you can get this at a reduced cost now if you still want one. So I think it's still pretty good and worth picking up if you can get one inexpensively. Let me know your thoughts about it, though, in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.